I found a tracker under my car. I put it on a truck going to Canada. Then I got a terrifying call. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below and hit that like and subscribe button. Let me backtrack and tell you how I got to this point because, honey, this story has more layers than my grandmother's 7-layer cake. And trust me, that thing was a masterpiece. I'm Clara Brennan, 63 years old, and I've been a widow for exactly 2 years, 3 months and 12 days. Not that I'm counting or anything, but when you've been married to someone for 38 years, you tend to notice when they're suddenly not snoring next to you every morning. My husband Richard died of a heart attack while mowing the lawn, which, knowing Richard, was probably exactly how he would have wanted to go. Quick, efficient, and with a perfectly manicured yard as his final accomplishment. Now, before you start thinking this is going to be some sob story about a poor little old lady, let me set the record straight. Richard might have been the one who fixed the leaky faucets and programmed the remote control, but I was the one who handled our finances. And by handled, I mean I turned his modest engineering salary and my teaching pension into a portfolio worth a little over $8 million. Turns out, while Richard was building bridges, I was building our future. Who knew that all those summers spent listening to my father discuss stock markets over Sunday dinner would actually pay off? The thing about being a wealthy widow is that people suddenly start caring about your well-being in ways they never did before. Take my son-in-law, David, for instance. 3 years ago, when my daughter Emma first brought him home, he couldn't have cared less about my car's maintenance schedule. Now, suddenly, he's Marcus Aurelius crossed with an auto service representative, full of unsolicited wisdom about oil changes and tire rotations. David Mitchell is what my generation would call easy on the eyes. 37 years old, works in financial planning, drives a BMW that's always spotless, and has the kind of smile that makes waitresses give him extra bread rolls. Emma met him at some charity gala where rich people pay $500 to eat rubber chicken and feel good about themselves. She was smitten from day one, which should have been my first warning sign. Emma's never been smitten by anything that wasn't, ultimately, bad for her. My only child has always had a talent for choosing men the way some people choose lottery numbers, with hope, enthusiasm, and absolutely no logic whatsoever. There was Marcus the musician, turned out to be married, Brett the businessman, turned out to be broke, and Kevin the entrepreneur, turned out to be selling essential oils to his grandmother's bridge club. So, when Emma walked through my door 3.5 years ago with David in tow, I was prepared for the worst. But David seemed different. He asked thoughtful questions, remembered details from previous conversations, and actually helped clear the table without being asked. He brought me flowers on Mother's Day, not the gas station variety, but actual arrangements from a real florist. He listened when I talked about Richard, and never once offered the useless platitudes people usually do. Most importantly, he made Emma happy. Not the manic, performative happiness she displayed with the others, but a calm, settled kind of joy. She glowed, and for the first time in years, our Sunday dinners included someone who seemed to genuinely want to be there. So, when David suggested last Friday that my car needed a safety check before my weekend trip to Portland, I didn't question it. I should have, but grief and loneliness have a way of making you pathetically grateful for any sign that someone cares about your safety, even if that someone has only been family for 3 years and has never before shown any interest in automotive maintenance. "Clara," he'd said, using that newly minted, concerned son-in-law voice. "When's the last time you had the brakes checked on that Lexus? You're driving 3 hours each way to Portland. I'd hate for something to happen to you on the road. Let me take it in for you. My guy's a miracle worker." Emma had nodded along enthusiastically from the kitchen counter, where she was attempting to make what she optimistically called gourmet grilled cheese. "Mom, David knows about cars. You should listen to him." And that's how I found myself handing over my keys to a man who, until that moment, I trusted completely. Trust, as it turns out, is a luxury I could no longer afford. But that Friday evening, I was still blissfully unaware. I went to bed thinking about my Saturday morning appointment with Henderson Financial Group, the potential merger that could add another healthy chunk to my portfolio, and whether I'd packed my good reading glasses. I did not go to sleep wondering whether my son-in-law was planning to have me followed, robbed, or worse. Hindsight, as they say, is 20/20ths. But sometimes, Hindsight is also the thing that saves your life. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of crisp October air that makes you believe in new beginnings, which seems ironic now, considering what I was about to discover. I've always been an early riser, a habit left over from 35 years of teaching high school history, where arriving late meant facing down 30 caffeinated teenagers who could sense weakness like sharks smell blood in the water. My house was quiet in the way that only truly well-built houses can be. Double-pane windows, quality insulation, thick walls, specifications Richard had insisted on when we built the place 25 years ago. "Clara," he'd said, "if we're going to build our dream house, let's build it right." The man might have been stubborn about loading the dishwasher correctly, but he'd had excellent taste in contractors. The garage door hummed open, revealing my spotless silver Lexus. David had brought it back the previous evening, keys handed over with a pleased smile and a detailed, almost overly detailed, explanation of everything the mechanics had supposedly checked. "Fluids, filters, brakes, the whole 9 yards," he'd said, patting the roof. "Should run like a dream now." I'd thanked him, thinking what a thoughtful man my daughter had chosen. Shows you how much I knew. The drive to my first appointment should have taken 20 minutes, but Portland traffic had other plans. Some genius had decided Saturday morning was the perfect time to repave half of downtown. So, I found myself crawling along Elm Street at approximately the speed of continental drift, which was fine with me. At 63, I'd learned that being early to a meeting was a power move, but being fashionably on time was an art form. Henderson Financial Group occupied the top 2 floors of a glass monolith that probably cost more to clean each year than I'd made in my first decade of teaching. I'd been working with them on what they called a strategic acquisition opportunity and what I called buying a company because I can. The truth was, after Richard died, I discovered that sitting around feeling sorry for myself was both boring and financially unproductive. Turns out, making money is an excellent distraction from grief. The elevator whisked me up to the 15th floor, where Margaret Henderson was waiting with the kind of smile that costs extra at expensive dental practices. Margaret was everything I wasn't, blonde, 40-something, wearing a suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. But she was also brilliant, ruthless, and completely honest about both qualities. I respected that. "Clara, right on time as always," she said, rising from behind a desk large enough to land a small aircraft. "I have excellent news about the Riverside Properties acquisition. For the next 2 hours, we discussed numbers, projections, and legal details that would put most people to sleep but made my inner accountant sing with joy. The short version, I was about to become the majority owner of a commercial real estate portfolio that would generate enough passive income to fund Emma's shopping habits for the next century. Not that she knew about any of this, of course. One thing I'd learned from a lifetime of discretion was that financial information should be shared on a need-to-know basis. Emma needed to know she was loved and secure. She did not need to know the precise extent of that security. My second meeting, with a boutique investment firm, ran equally smoothly. By the time I was done, it was nearly 3, and I was ready to head home. Emma was making dinner, something she started doing every Saturday since she and David got engaged. It was sweet, even though her culinary skills were roughly equivalent to her ability to parallel park, technically possible, but requiring multiple attempts and a lot of prayer. I walked out to the parking garage, my mind shifting from merger details to family mode, thinking I should stop for a dessert to supplement whatever Emma was attempting. That's when I made the clumsy mistake that probably saved my life. As I approached my car, I fumbled with my purse, trying to extract my keys, my reading glasses, and my parking ticket all at once. The purse slipped from my grasp and hit the concrete with a thud, spewing its contents like a piñata. Tissues, pens, a rogue peppermint, and my glasses case skittered across the oily floor. Muttering words that would have earned my students' detention, I bent down to retrieve everything. That's when I saw it. Attached to the underside of my car, just behind the front passenger side wheel well, was a small, black, rectangular device about the size of a deck of cards. It was matte black, magnetic, and clinging there like a malignant metal tick. It most definitely had not been there 2 days ago, when I dropped my parking pass and had to crawl around looking for it. For a long moment, I just stared, my brain sluggishly processing the image. A cold, slick feeling started in my stomach and spread outwards. Very slowly I reached out and pulled. It came away easily in my hand, leaving no mark on the pristine undercarriage. A GPS tracker. Someone, and I had a suddenly nauseatingly clear idea of who, wanted to know exactly where I was going. I sat in the driver's seat for 10 full minutes, the tracker sitting on the passenger seat like a poisonous toad. My heart hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Part of me, the maternal, furious part, wanted to drive straight to David's office, march in, and slap the damn thing down on his desk. But 35 years of teaching teenagers, master manipulators in their own right, had taught me that the direct approach isn't always the smartest, especially when you might be dealing with someone playing a much longer, much darker game than you'd imagined. Instead of confronting, I started investigating. Right there in the garage, I Googled. 20 minutes later, I knew more about covert surveillance devices than I ever wanted to. The model stuck to my car was a Silent Tracker Pro, available online for less than $50, promising real-time location updates and 6 months of battery life. How thoughtful of David to spring for the premium option. The question was why, and what to do about it. Calling Emma was my first instinct, but that would force her into an impossible position between her mother and her fiancé. Confronting David directly was risky. It would tip my hand and assume he was working alone. A third option, cold and calculating, began to take shape. You see, one advantage of being a wealthy widow is that people consistently, catastrophically, underestimate you. They see the gray hair, the kind eyes, the comfortable wardrobe, and they file you under harmless and vulnerable. What they don't see is the mind that has navigated stock market crashes, outmaneuvered condescending brokers, and managed classrooms of hormonal adolescents. I know how to spot a predator, and I know how to fight back. I needed to turn this little spy game around. I drove not home, but to a big box electronics store, then to a truck stop on the I-84, where the air smelled of diesel and coffee. My plan was simple, elegant even. I would give the tracker a journey of its own. I selected a massive semi with Alberta plates, its driver inside the diner fueling up on grease and caffeine. With a quick glance around, I bent down and attached the black box to a shadowy, greasy part of the trailer's undercarriage. Let David track that. A little gift, heading north to Canada. The drive home was a silent, tense affair. The anger had settled now, replaced by a chilling clarity. David's sudden automotive concern. His gentle probing about my portfolio over recent dinners. His encouragement for Emma to move back in with me while they planned the wedding, giving him an insider's view of my routines. These weren't random acts of kindness. They were intelligence gathering. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I had metabolized the shock into a steely resolve. David Mitchell had made a fatal error. He had mistaken my warmth for weakness, my generosity for gullibility. If he was playing a game, I was now a player, and I intended to win. I walked into my house, hugged my daughter, complimented her on the suspiciously smoky aroma emanating from the kitchen, and smiled at my son-in-law as if my world hadn't just been violently upended. Sunday morning dawned, deceptively peaceful. I was at the kitchen table, drinking coffee from Richard's favorite mug, the one that said, "World's most adequate husband," when my phone rang. An unfamiliar number with a 780 area code. Normally, I'd let it go to voicemail. Something made me answer. "Mrs. Brennan?" A male voice, official, clipped. "This is Sergeant Mitchell Wright with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Leduc, Alberta. Do you have a moment?" I nearly dropped the mug. In all my scenarios, a call from the Mounties hadn't made the list. "Yes, this is she." I managed, my voice surprisingly steady. "Ma'am, we have a situation here we believe you may be connected to. Early this morning, we arrested an individual at a truck stop outside Edmonton. A Vincent Torres. He was behaving erratically around a commercial vehicle. Upon search, we found him in possession of a photograph of you, along with detailed notes on your daily schedule, your vehicle description, and your home address. The blood drained from my face, leaving me cold. He became highly agitated during questioning," Sergeant Wright continued. "Started demanding to speak with someone named David about a payment. He claims he was hired to intercept you. Ma'am, based on the information we've gathered, this appears to be a virtual kidnapping setup. Are you familiar with the term?" I wasn't, but the words alone were enough to freeze the air in my lungs. He explained. It's a brutal, psychological scam. Criminals track a target, wait for them to be alone or traveling, then contact their family claiming they've been kidnapped, demanding an urgent, untraceable ransom. The family, in a panic, pays before they can verify the story. By the time they realize their loved one is safe, the money is gone. It relies on speed, fear, and an inside knowledge of the victim's movements. The tracker, I whispered, the pieces slamming together with brutal force. Tracker, Mrs. Brennan? For the next 20 minutes. I told him everything. The maintenance, the device, my truck stop countermeasure. Sergeant Wright listened without interruption. Mrs. Brennan, he said finally, his voice grave, you need to contact your local police immediately. If Torres was the operative, the person who hired him, this David, will be expecting a progress report. When he doesn't get one, he'll know the plan is compromised. That could make him desperate. You are not safe. After hanging up, the kitchen felt alien, a stage set. The cheerful morning light seemed grotesque. David wasn't just a gold digger. He was a criminal who had orchestrated a plot to psychologically torture his own family for money. He'd planned to make Emma believe I was in the hands of violent men, to milk her terror for cash. The coldness of it was breathtaking. I thought of calling the police right then. But a fiercer, more protective instinct rose up. This wasn't just about my safety anymore. It was about Emma. She was upstairs, still dreaming about wedding venues, utterly in love with a monster. To simply have him arrested would destroy her, leaving her with nothing but trauma and questions. I needed evidence. I needed the whole truth. And I needed to ensure that when David fell, he could never hurt anyone, especially my daughter, ever again. The following days were a secret double life. To Emma and David, I was the same slightly doting, slightly distracted Clara. Meanwhile, I became a silent investigator. I hired Marcus Webb, a discreet and ex-FBI private investigator. I need complete surveillance on David Mitchell. Everything. Who he meets, where he goes, what he does. I engaged Jennifer Walsh, a forensic accountant sharper than a scalpel. Trace everything. Every account, every transaction linked to him for the past 5 years. Look for anomalies, debts, patterns. And I quietly met with my own attorney and a sympathetic detective from the Portland PD, Detective Sarah Chen, bringing them into the loop but urging caution. I need to know the full scope before we move. I told them. I need to know if my daughter is in danger, or if she could possibly be involved. Saying it aloud was agony. The reports that came back painted a portrait of a man far more dangerous than I'd imagined. David Mitchell was actually Derek Morrison, age 42. His financial planning career was a thin veneer over a long history of targeting and defrauding older, financially secure women. He had changed his name and location after each scam. Jennifer's report showed not just the $37,000 he'd siphoned from me in small, clever increments, but massive, 6-figure gambling debts owed to organized crime figures back east. Marcus's surveillance showed meetings with unsavory characters, visits to a storage unit filled with documents, and a newly booked one-way flight to Miami. He was a rat in a corner, and my diversion of his tracker had sent him scurrying. The final piece came from Detective Chun, coordinating with the RCMP. Vincent Torres, facing serious charges, was singing. He had records, encrypted messages from DM detailing the plan, instructions for the fake kidnapping call to Emma, even a script. The payment was to be $200,000. A modest sum, enough to cover his pressing debts without raising too much alarm from me, he likely thought. After the trauma, he'd be the supportive hero, managing my finances to help me recover. The night I decided to end it, I invited them for dinner. A wedding budget discussion. I cooked roast chicken. I used my grandmother's china. The domestic normality of it felt like the most potent weapon I had. The meal was a bizarre pantomime. Emma chattered about floral arrangements. David was the picture of attentive concern. I played my part, the grateful mother-in-law. After dessert, as Emma cleared plates, I looked at David across the table. David, I need to ask you something, I said, my voice calm. And I'd appreciate complete honesty. His smile was warm, patronizing. Anything, Clara. I need to know why you put a GPS tracker on my car. The silence was absolute. The clock ticked in the hall. Emma froze in the doorway. His face went through a fascinating transformation. Surprise, panic, then a swift, smooth mask of confused concern. Clara, I think you might be confused. A tracker? Why would I do that? I placed my phone on the table, pulling up the photos of the black device. This one. The one I found after you so kindly had my car serviced. The one that's currently providing a lovely tour of the Canadian Rockies on the underside of a logging truck. Emma's eyes darted between us. Mom! David! I continued, pulling out printouts from Jennifer. And while we're being honest, can you explain these? $37,000 moved from my accounts over the last 18 months? And these? I slid forward Marcus's photos of him meeting with known criminals. David's mask shattered. The charming veneer peeled away, revealing something hard, desperate, and ugly beneath. You don't understand the pressure I'm under, he hissed, his voice low and venomous, meant only for me. The pressure to have me kidnapped, David. The pressure to terrify your own fiancé. I said it clearly, for Emma to hear. It wasn't supposed to be real, he snapped, then clapped a hand over his mouth, realizing his admission. The look on Emma's face, the dawning, horrific comprehension, will haunt me forever. It was the death of her dream, right there in our dining room. You were going to fake a kidnapping? Her voice was a broken whisper. For money! He turned to her, reaching out. Emma, please, I can explain. Don't you touch me, she recoiled, her voice cracking with a fury I'd never heard. The betrayal, the humiliation, the fear, it all erupted. Get out! Get out of our house! David's eyes darted to me, to the door, calculating his escape. He bolted. He made it 15 feet into the backyard, into Richard's prized rose garden, before Detective Chun and 2 uniformed officers emerged from the shadows and took him down. The arrest was swift, clinical, and deeply satisfying to watch from my kitchen window. The aftermath was a different kind of storm. Emma's grief was profound, not just for a lost love, but for her own judgment, her own trust. She moved out into therapy, into a painful but necessary journey of rebuilding herself. The legal proceedings were complex. Derek Morrison, facing overwhelming evidence from multiple jurisdictions, tried one last desperate gambit. He claimed I was his accomplice, the mastermind. It was a ludicrous, spiteful lie that only served to dig his hole deeper. During his trial, his detailed testimony about his own crimes, offered to try and implicate me, essentially handed the prosecution a conviction on counts they hadn't even charged. The jury saw him for what he was, a predator who'd finally met a victim who refused to be prey. He was sentenced to 28 years in federal prison, with a restitution order that will see every cent he stole from me and his other victims repaid. Today, 6 months later, the scars are still there, but they're healing. Emma is running the Clara Brennan Foundation for Elder Fraud Prevention, which we founded using the initial restitution payments. She's fierce and compassionate, using her hard-earned knowledge to protect others. There's a new strength in her, forged in fire. As for me, I'm 64. I'm worth about $8.5 million. I tend to Richard's roses, and I sleep soundly at night, because the next person who mistakes this gray-haired widow for an easy target is going to learn the same hard lesson Derek Morrison did, that beneath a gentle exterior can lie a will of steel, a mind for strategy, and the unwavering instinct to fight for what's yours. Some layers, after all, are there to protect something precious within. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and feel free to share your own stories of resilience in the comments below. Your voice matters.